put down where the beer is going to be sold or stored. So if, on the application, that's probably why it says.
Well, that's why they've got
Yes,
different
because they
locations.
may store the extra in the storage room, but they have to list everywhere that the liquor will be stored, sold, and consumed in certain licenses, but not this one, but
Okay, thanks, Wendy.
Yep.
And as you explained, they have to get a liquor license to sell wine, but they don't plan on selling liquor until after we pass this, or no, not
Yeah.
currently, but they could.
currently their plan is to sell only beer and wine. But in order to sell the wine, they needed to get a full liquor license because they weren't eligible for a wine license.
Are we allowed to place restrictions on that license?
Is this actual wine or wine coolers, you know, what's the difference in malted versus?
It depends on what they're made of. I mean, some wine coolers have malt in them, so you can sell them as malt beverages. It just depends on how they're made.
Under this license, they could sell either.
They can
Right.
sell anything.
Except.
No, they can sell hard, they can
Full
sell
license.
anything under this
They're
license.
just not currently.
They're just
planning on
not going to.
Do they have an option of just selling beer,
Yes, they do.
which they didn't take, but they could apply for that?
They
If
could,
we were to deny this.
they could, yeah.
So what type of license does Quick Trip have? Because I know they don't
Quick
have
Trip just
wine
has
or
a-
liquor.
Quick Trip just has a beer license.
And we have no quota on them.
We have no quota on
Family
beer.
Dollar
license.
only sells beer and wine, no spirits. Jonathan Crumley just typed that on. I don't know if everybody saw that.
Say it again, Kenny?
Right, he said the Family Dollar only sells beer and wine.
Right,
They're only planning to sell beer and wine. No liquor.
but they will have a full liquor license,
Correct, because by default.
correct? But they don't plan on selling any other liquor besides beer and wine.
Once we pass this, they could change their mind next Tuesday and.
I
Correct.
think that, and you're correct, but I think that's why Jonathan typed that note. Was the intent is right now, Family Dollar only sells beer and wine. I'm not saying they will or they won't, I'm just telling you what he typed. Because apparently his audio isn't working. So what he's saying is, yes, they're getting the full license, but they're only, right now, Family Dollar only sells beer and wine.
And to be clear, this would be our only, this is the only available Class A liquor, right? If we award this to Family Dollar, that's it?
That's it.
That's it. Then we're at a max.
Yes, we're at our quota then. And that's a quota that was set at this table. That's not a state statute quota.
And that this license only affects, what's the right word for it? Non-restaurants or non-sit-down places or whatever you want to
This
call
is
it.
a class A license, which is consumption off premise.
Off
So,
premise, that's
yes.
So it would still, if there was still another place that wanted to do something to sell like a restaurant, to sell wine, this wouldn't affect them.
That's correct.
So we could save our full liquor license for someone else if we just denied them the ability to sell wine and made them get just a beer.
You could say this package license for
Yeah.
someone, that would be a question of why someone, why not this one, I assume, Attorney Morgan would say.
The question is, if it's density, what difference does it make if it's this individual seller or a different seller? If you want to change the density, I would suggest changing the density rather than saying, we're gonna hold on to this one simply because because the state in its infinite wisdom doesn't give you a line only license, which is what I understand they would prefer. But that's where we're stuck right now, and changes, there are changes, but right now, that's where we are.
And other Family Dollars sell.
Yes. That's what Jonathan said that earlier. that
I'm sorry, catch me up, who's Jonathan?
He's the
Representative.
representative for Family Dollar.
He's on a video.
He is a third party.
I knew he was here.
There he
Oh,
is.
Jonathan, I just didn't know. I missed his introduction, I'm sorry.
Turn your screen on there, Paul. He'll be looking at it.
Well, I mean, I already believe
Sorry, I was having technical difficulties on my end. Apologize.
I Googled this when I saw it and they made a corporate announcement, and I think it was 2 years ago, that this was something they were gonna roll out across the country, so.
And it did not include hard liquor. It is only beer and wine. So my point, I bring that up because Dollar General is such a big corporation.
Family Dollar.
Sorry, Family Dollar is such a big corporation. The one in Edgerton isn't all of a sudden gonna go rogue and sell hard liquor.
But speaking of Dollar General, they do have beer and wine over at Milton at the Dollar General. I didn't buy it, it was just getting some trouble.
That's what they say, right, Chris?
And I am happy to address any of these questions if it's appropriate, but I'm sorry for the technical difficulties on my end earlier before when the hearing started.
And I'm sure it goes without saying that you provide bartender training for employees.
Yes, he missed all that, Paul. He went over that during finance.
Okay.
They
I'm
have
sorry, I
their
wasn't
own-
in
that's
the
okay,
agenda.
that's okay. They have their own training program along with what is required by the state, so, and if we have anything local.
And they're subject to the same scrutiny that we give our bartenders. In other words, their renewals would come up before the finance committee, like all the other bartenders in town,
Right.
or no?
I know that's a good question, because I was wondering the same thing. Is there, to sell this, they don't have to have a licensed bartender on it?
Yes, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay. Licensed operator.
Just like anybody that works at Quick Trip or anywhere that sells liquor at a liquor store, they have to have a licensed operator on the premise at all times.
Within visual sight, I believe.
Within visual sight, yes, they have to take the alcohol beverage servers course in order to get the license, which they are working on now for all of their employees. So they have to follow the same standards as a bartender of anybody that works in a liquor store or anybody that sells liquor. They have to get a license just like everyone else.
Is that available to 18-year-olds as well, like a bartender's license would be?
You have to be 18 or older to get a bartender's license, operator's license, yes.
And like, it would be the example, if somebody were like to be 16, 17, they just call for an adult to scan.
So if somebody's 16 and they don't have an operator's license, they can't sell it unless there's an operator there that will sell it for them. They can't scan the liquor.
Right, I mean, we all, well,
Yes,
I just admitted that by it there, but yeah.
Scan, please.
yes.
Every time I've gone, yes.
I've seen somebody do that.
Just make sure you go to the checkout person that's.
No, sir, I have to go to that line, that person's older.
This is gonna spec, I know the state wants to lower it to 14 for licensing, this, could that? That's all.
Yeah, that's opening another thing.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one, yeah.
Okay, any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Preble,
No,
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick.
No.
Motion passes 4-2. Thank you for zooming in with us, Jonathan.
Appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
I'll make a motion to approve a transfer of 2022 general fund surplus in the amount of $144,923 to the capital projects fund.
I'll second.
Motion and second to transfer the general fund surplus. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Preble,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of City of Edgerton Ordinance 23-21, amend chapter 200 cemetery, section 200-4 cemetery fund in the Code of Ordinances, City of Edgerton, Rock and Dane Counties, Wisconsin.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the first reading of the City of Edgerton Ordinance 23-21. Any discussion?
Yeah, question, and I don't really know if this falls under this one or the next one, so I apologize, because they're so closely related, but in my mind, things would be neater and cleaner if we had spent down the 21,000 in the old cemetery fund, say to like fix the fence. However, I mean, we're a month or two from the budget process. It's not that we're all gonna forget that's there, so in a sense, we're kind of like eliminating a segregated fund here and releasing it into the general, but I hope everyone's intent is that we don't just, go buy 4 fun umbrellas with this and instead spend 21,000 on a fence or something cemetery related. Now, I know we perpetually are gonna take care of the cemetery, but still, I'd like to make sure we're all on board that those funds continue to go to something out there.
Would we not specify that, Bill, when we do this, when we're doing away with it, we could specify that goes into, that money is to be used for the cemetery only?
You could, motion would be to designate it for a certain use.
You can do that. The statutes don't require it. The statute said if you wanted it in the general fund, which is where this would be, it's going to be a subcategory of the general fund. It's not going to be a standalone one that earns it, and it has to be managed separately. And that's why I think we're doing this, is because there is additional paperwork. Tracking gets lost. This is in the general fund. You're agreeing to take care of the cemetery regardless, so this just frees up the money.
But that's the next one, the perpetual care. This one is the moving the funds. So it's like Casey said, now, a month or two from now, we could
You could
change our minds totally on the 21,000 and use it somewhere else. So would now be the time to say, we're gonna pass this on the grounds that we, or the premise that we put the 21K away and use it for the fence and whatnot.
And as Ramona said, you could set it as a designated amount, but it's going to be under the auspice of the general.
Okay. But we'd have something in writing to look back on and say, your team, we're just putting this back on the cemetery.
This is our intention. It's
Okay.
going to be changed next month.
That's what comes line on the budget.
The cemetery is already yeah, it's already those, so the revenue doesn't go there, but, yeah, it's entirely up to you how much control you wanna have. This is the same body that's gonna adopt your budget in a month, so, it's up to you.
Like Casey said, we all know what we intend to do now, but who knows what comes up later. We decide we need it somewhere else. So the cemetery gets left out, the fence gets left out, and whatnot.
But I think that could happen anyway. Right? So I think that we all have an agreement that, because I'm with you, that's what that should be used for. I don't feel the need that I need to earmark it.
Right, I mean, that's why I started with, it'd be easier to expect now. It seems like total nonsense, like to eliminate a segregated fund and then create the same thing. So now I put that out there. Let me ask this question, how soon might we have an estimate on fixing the fence?
Or have you started working on that yet?
I've been trying to locate vendors that will work on that specific fence. Haven't had a whole lot of luck yet. I did talk to one individual who said he could possibly repair some of the panels that are there. So I'm still working on scope. I don't think we're looking to replace the entire fence, but rather what's necessary to make it look the way it's supposed to. So I could probably have, I would guess I could have numbers back to you probably by the next meeting. Something.
Okay, budget. Right, just.
Definitely by budget, yeah.
Budget.
So as long as the cemetery fence is in the budget for this year, we're good on this.
Right.
And if you drive up there, you realize that you'll be reminded of it every time you go up there, because there are some spots that need attention. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Preble,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve City of Edgerton Resolution 24-23, resolution guaranteeing the perpetual care of the Fassett Cemetery and cemetery plots.
I'll second.
Motion to second for resolution 2423. Okay, who's got plots out there? I mean, is this something that we're actually going for our favor?
Oh. Well.
I do.
Yes.
This is a legislative function and,
Okay.
legislative functions, you can have a horse in the race.
A horse in the race, I like that better.
Poor holy ground. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve the amendment to Edgerton Outreach Purchase Agreement for 210 West Fulton Street.
Second.
Motion to second to read the amendment for Edgerton Outreach purchase. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve seeding the athletic fields at Racetrack Park to the lowest responsible bid of $10,900 by Tim Clark, with funding to be the $7,500 that have already been set aside for this, with the additional $3,400 coming out of developer fees.
I'll second.
Motion to second for seeding the athletic fields. Any discussion?
Is this both the field everyone's picturing and also where the tractor pull was?
Yes.
It's both areas, okay. Would we seed this, is this like really nice grass with a soccer field in mind? Would we be doing this right now if one of those fields were gonna be a baseball field? Or would we be,
Yes,
we would, okay.
yeah, I mean, that's the design of all of that, and, we need to get it under cover for erosion control, for all kinds of reasons, we need to get it seeded. So, even if you come back and peel back the sod for the base path later.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that we would want to get this covered.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's gonna be weeds.
Right, it is weed, the velvet weed.
Exactly.
Great, right now, yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't putting the cart before the horse on the decision of what's going on with those spaces.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'll make a motion to not seek quotes for the business park land rent and, extend the lease to the current tenant, with a 20% increase that they will pay, that they have agreed to pay.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to extend the lease with the current tenant on the business park land. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
No.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
I will make a motion to approve City of Edgerton Resolution 2523, authorizing a signature municipality to extend the levy limit for the Lakeside Fire Rescue District.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval of City of Edgerton Resolution 2523. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve the lowest responsible bid for the VFD installation at well 3 to CTW well and pump in the amount of $15,560.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the variable frequency drive. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'll move to declare the 2016 Toolcat as surplus and set the minimum bid at 11,000.
Oh, I will second that.
Motion and a second to declare the toolcat surplus. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Preble,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'll make a motion to approve the lowest responsible bid for West Hubert Street paving to Rock Road in the amount of $24,974.
I'll second that.
Motion approved the West Hubert paving. Any discussion? If None, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Preble,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
The most emphatic, yes. Thank you, Howard.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And that's everything for finance.
Planning commission, there's a couple things we gotta do here. Somebody wants to go on that.
Make a motion to approve extraterritorial land division for Sayre on County Highway N in section 33 of Town of Albany.
Second.
Motion and second to approve extraterritorial land division for Sayre. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to approve extraterritorial land division for backyard properties on County Highway F, section 9, Town of Fulton.
Second.
Motion and second to approve extraterritorial land division for backyard properties. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything else to bring forward, do we?
Didn't bring forward, but they did discuss steps. Well, that was at the joint movement. I was at the joint one, yeah, okay, we can cover that under RDA, guys, whichever one. You wanna cover that under RDA? No, just planning. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, redevelopment authority.
Yeah, I don't, I'll make a motion to consider the facade grant amendment for 15 North Main Street, the auto parts store. This is,
Second.
okay. This is, thank you. I was thinking that as I started to talk, like, wait, what's the next second? This is one of those instances where between the project getting done, the price went up. So they would have been eligible for more, and this is that difference. I think it caps it at, I think they're at the cap of 6,000. So it's just like $1,400 more than they originally received.
So when that I'm not opposed to this, I just have a question. When that happens, if the work is done, so they got the quote, because that's how much they knew the facade grant would be, right?
This was under the limit, so just so you know,
Yeah.
they weren't at the limit at the time, so they had a quote.
Yeah,
and they
oh, I get
wanted-
that,
Oh,
but
good.
I just want, and it's more about they got a quote from the people doing the work. And then by the time the work was done, that amount changed.
In this case, it was sub-base. They found that the soils under the paving were way worse than they thought, so they had a change order for a whole bunch of extra big rock.
That, there you go, that makes the
Yeah,
sense,
it's
'cause I
just a
thought
change
that,
in their
don't
quote.
they stick to their,
Well, it's just,
Okay.
it wasn't just the prices went up, there was more.
there was more work, okay, sorry, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Langen,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Motion passes. Utility commission, anything to bring forward here?
Met last Monday, just the credits, general paying bills.
Personnel committee.
Yes, personnel committee meets this evening at 6 o'clock to approve the appointment of interview worker that Howard has just made a commitment to. His name is Michael Gladney. And I don't know if we determined what's his start date,
The 28th.
the 28th of August. So that is filling a vacant position. So that's what we did at personnel.
All right, thank you. Why would we approve the agenda? We didn't move this one up so Sarah could get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next item is consider transfer of lot at 5 Albion Street to Edgerton Community Outreach.
Also move. Second.
Motion and second to transfer the lot at 5 Albion. In discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Langen,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Andy Davis,
Yes.
Kribel,
Yes.
Motion passes. Mayor, all the person and staff reports. Couple things I've got. Edgerton night down at the Sky Carp game Thursday night, if anybody's interested in the ball game, there's supposedly discount tickets for Edgerton residents. Could be hot.
Yeah.
And you see Wendy tomorrow, wish her happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Wendy.
Happy birthday tomorrow, man.
And our condolences to Sean. Been a tough week for him this week. I don't have anything. Anybody else?
So I would bring up that the library board met on Tuesday, August 8th. And we discussed, the roof is now completed. You saw it in finance that $111,000 went to go ahead and complete that, so that's done. And then all the meeting room, the bids are out and we're waiting to hear back and that project forward.
I'd like to say that today is my oldest grandson's 26th birthday, and he's supposed to be sitting right there. I hear this, but somebody made an offer on his house on Friday, so he's gotta stay back. So,
Happy birthday to
Dylan.
Dylan.
Anybody else, or does somebody want to do number 10 here?
We gotta have something else.
I'll move that we go, in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85(1)(e), deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session to discuss and consider a land purchase.
Closed session, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are opposed.
Chief Kowalski, good to see you, bud. I hope you're healing.
Doing better every day. Thank you.